Happy South by Southwest. Thanks so much for coming out and joining us this Sunday morning. So I am Val Vacante. I am a managing partner at Collabsco, also part of the Fast Company executive board. So I write for them. So check it out. For today, we will dive into the landscape of what's going on and the power of play. And then each of our speakers, we're going to share real world examples and kind of behind the scenes of some of their work that they're doing. And then we'll kind of round it out with a conversation just on a couple of key topics and takeaways. So we'll dive in. So diving into the power of play, play is such a big topic, and we really see this new definition of play and it being beyond the toy aisle and beyond the console and really beyond the screen. You know, we see it as more creativity, community, and connection. Now, here are some big numbers, just rounding out play and a little bit of foreshadowing of what we'll talk about. But some big numbers here, 94% of people globally believe play is beyond sort of childhood, like it applies to everybody. 70% of people find their most creative ideas are through play. And then 7 billion plus in toy sales in 2024, that means it's the #1 spending segment are kidults. So we're seeing a huge growth in that multi-generational play. And then 75% of fans are more likely to engage with brands who really embrace their fandom and celebrate their fandom in authentic ways. And then, of course, there's 86 million of Americans who are buying on like live shopping around their fandom. And then this last one here, this is the good news. I'll start with the bad news and round it out. The bad news is that there's $780 billion left on the table from brands who aren't connecting and providing those simple experiences in the ways that fans want to play or love. But the good news is this number here. And the good news is that those brands who are providing those connected and emotional experiences with their consumers are seeing 140% increase. So we like those numbers. I think everybody here is like that. Now, what I'm going to do is dive into kind of 5 drivers of what the future of play looks like here. And the first one is creativity and imaginative play, excuse me. And that's really everything from kind of like your physical toy to world building in digital worlds. And here's a little smattering of examples, so everything from building in Minecraft to Roblox, but also that physical play experience. For example, there's Tony's at the top there. It's a screen-free experience. You can put your collectible on and sort of listen to story. The next one here, no surprise, is multi-generational play. So everybody from Gen Alpha to those kidults that we talked about. This year's really a big year for fans for all ages alike, right? Pokemon had its big 30th anniversary this year. And then on top of it, next year, we have the 50th for Star Wars. So all of you Star Wars fans, it's an exciting time. And then the next one here is connected play and stories and experiences. So really, how are brands bringing out those story worlds, connecting with the IP in really meaningful ways? And just a couple of examples to highlight here. And again, this happens in the physical and digital world. How are we seeing those stories play out? So for example, Mattel recently launched their Uno experience in both Roblox and Fortnite. And they did a great job of taking that IP and translating it into those digital experiences. And then, of course, there's a couple of examples here. And then we have commerce in playful ways. And this is everything from, you think commerce, you think maybe online shopping or store, but we're saying commerce in playful ways in really all of those places. So in-game, in-stream, in-store, of course. A couple of examples here I wanted to share that kind of hit on those. Of course, we have our friends Crunchyroll here, and they have a phenomenal program that's playing one of the best. for fans, and it's called Anime. And a couple of examples here were Crunchyroll teamed up with Uniqlo and had a manga artist come in the store. So you can meet the artist. Of course, get some merch while you're there. And then in Best Buy, having exclusives, promo items, and then at Funko Pop store in Hollywood, when that Funko Pop dropped, having the voice actors from Jujutsu Kaisen come in and have meet and greets. So a really great way to connect with the community. And then on top of it, Mattel have Mattel Revealed, which is really behind the scenes of what's happening at Mattel with all of their biggest fans. And it's a show, but also shoppable. And then lastly, rounding this one out here with Different, I was actually excited to work on this one. We teamed up with Nikkei 30 and Chica, who are Fortnite icons, had a stream with them where it was duos against squads. Anytime they won, we rewarded their community. And then here, this is sort of our last one as we round it out, is co-creating and collaborating. So really collaborating with fans, with the community, and then also key collaborators. And we can't forget AI. It's the topic of the show, right? So a couple of examples here with Mattel Creations teaming up with collaborators. Bandai Namco, they have their creator collective program. Lego have various student design programs and the like. And then Hasbro recently talked about their AI Peppa Pig helping them to collab with ideas. And so bringing all of this together, what are the drivers for what's next? These are really kind of key considerations and actions to think about looking ahead. So as we talked about that creativity and imaginative play, if you're a brand, really designing those open-ended experiences that apply to all ages. Multi-generational play, really bringing that fan-first experience, creating those shared moments, connected play and stories. So really thinking about your IP and thoughtfully, how is it going to extend? How is it going to make those rich stories? And then commerce in playful ways. So really meeting fans where they're at and turning those moments into really joyous experiences. And of course, that make it easy to shop on the spot. And then lastly, co-creating and collaborating along the way. So with that, our rallying cry for the group here to drive the future of play together.